Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Trey from 803 with another my reaction video. And this reaction video is on Tulsi Gabbard saying that Kamala Harris might be trying to silence X. No further ado, let's jump into it.
Freedom of speech is a hallmark of any free society. And yet, here
Facts.
in the United States of America, the unimaginable is happening. Our right to free speech is facing an all out assault. A 12-year-old boy in Colorado was removed from school for having a Gadsden flag patch on his backpack that reads, "Don't tread on me," a flag whose origins lie in the Revolutionary War as a symbol of resistance to British tyranny. A school in Indiana was blasted for telling a high school student to remove an American flag from his truck because it might be quote unquote offensive to others. 12-year-old Liam Morrison and his family sued the town of Middleborough in Massachusetts for sending him home twice for wearing a shirt that simply said, "There are only two genders." A student in California is suing her school for banning her from wearing a red hat that says "Make America Great Again" on it,
Wow.
violating her First Amendment.
When it comes to making a difference in this
This
race,
guy,
even
what's up with
$5 will
these
do the
ads,
trick.
man?
$5 on
Really?
Team Harris Wall's trade.
Rights. This is happening in the United States of America today. These are just a few examples of what Ben Franklin warned against when he said, quote, "Freedom of speech is a principal pillar of a free government. When this support is taken away, the constitution of a free society is dissolved and tyranny is erected on its ruins." Our founders knew that a democratic republic requires a vibrant marketplace of ideas where freedom of speech and expression can thrive, where we can criticize our own government, exercise our free speech without fear of censorship or retaliation. Now, even though our country has wrestled with challenges to free speech for a long time, this is nothing new.
You see, that's why I don't understand when it comes to silencing. That was those for wearing a Make America Great Again. Who doesn't want this country to be great? That just shows how much hate some people have. You know, I mean, those was bogus reasons for punishing those kids, and I mean, it's just a crazy world we live in, crazy time. Ain't no way you can hate somebody that much as a politician to try and reject kids that just want the best for the country. Anyway.
Free speech today has never been more under threat. The last 4 years have shown us that there is no limit to what speech this government will attempt to censor or where it can be censored. For example, Congress passed a bill recently to ban TikTok. People like Congressman Dan Crenshaw accused opponents of the bill of supporting the enemy. Even the ACLU and NPR opposed this bill, citing legal scholars who said it was a violation of the First Amendment. Ron Paul was right when he said on March 14th, yesterday's House vote to either force the sale of TikTok or ban it entirely from the U.S. is the most dangerous and anti-American act since the passage of the Patriot Act. The law will give the U.S. president sole authority to determine which businesses can and cannot operate in the United States. It is a full government takeover of our basic liberties. Now, thanks to this new law, any president could single-handedly shut down any platform or business by simply designating them as a significant national security threat. That's a lot of power. How soon before a Democrat president shuts down the platform X, labeling Elon Musk an agent of a quote-unquote foreign adversary simply because he refuses to do their dirty censorship work? The Biden administration worked hand in...
And you know, another thing is Elon Musk recently came out, I think it was a couple weeks ago, and had a sit-down interview, interview over X with Donald Trump, which I think was cool. And another thing I think is cool with Trump is he's going on these different podcasts with these different, not just, you know, younger folks, but just on these podcasts, explaining the policies and you know what I'm saying, being himself, being jovial, being him, being a people person, while Kamala's up here bringing up Nas and Beyonce or whoever else, Megan Thee Stallion, just basically, I still, in my, well, not Kamala, Democratic National Convention, but Kamala too, bringing up all these celebrities while Trump is actually focusing on the country. she still has yet to come up with policies to accept the ones that she stole from Trump. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy.
With Facebook to censor posts and shadow ban accounts that were critical of vaccine mandates. Here's how it worked. A White House employee would report a post or account to Facebook and ask it to take action, and Facebook would comply. At one point, a Facebook employee told the Surgeon General's office that it demoted content or posts, quote, questioning whether you should get a vaccine under a mandate because it, quote, leads to a vaccine negative environment. Now, the White House didn't deny any of this. In fact, on repeated occasions throughout the pandemic, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki bragged about it.
For how long has the administration been spying on people's Facebook profiles looking for vaccine misinformation?
Well, Peter, first of all, as you know, we're in a regular touch with a range of media outlets, as we are in regular touch with social media platforms. Our biggest concern here, and I frankly think it should be your biggest concern, is the number of people who are dying around the country because they're getting misinformation that is leading them to not take a vaccine.
They even asked Facebook to, quote, change the algorithm away from polarizing news outlets like the Daily Wire and Tommy Lauren, and instead promote more, quote unquote, authoritative outlets like the New York Times. This is straight out of Orwell's 1984, our government directly controlling what information they want us to see. Let's take a look at Google. In 2015, a senior research psychologist at the American Institute for Behavioral Research and Technology named Robert Epstein published his years-long research on Google that detailed how Google's search algorithm, quote, can easily shift the voting preferences of undecided voters by 20% or more, up to 80% in some demographic groups, with virtually no one knowing that they're being manipulated. End of quote. Epstein also wrote that Google could, quote, flip upwards of 25% of the national elections worldwide. He added that
Have you heard about Akasoli? These are the cutting-edge orthopedic insoles that people look forward to using. Yes,
the margin of U.S. presidential elections, usually under 7%, were, quote, well within Google's control. According to the Media Research Center, Google has interfered with elections 41 times over the last 16 years. This makes Google a more effective and efficient regime change tool than even our most powerful intelligence agencies. Now here's Epstein explaining how.
In 2016, Google's search algorithm likely impacted undecided voters in a way that shifted at least 2.6 million votes to Hillary Clinton, whom I supported. I know this because I preserved more than 13,000 election-related searches prior to Election Day, and Google's search results were significantly biased in favor of Secretary Clinton. I know the number of votes that shifted because I've conducted dozens of controlled experiments that measure how opinions shift when search results are biased.
I know about this personally, because in 2020, Google targeted me. In the hours after the first 2020 Democratic primary debate, I became the most searched candidate on Google. And yet, as my Google search traffic was spiking, Google decided to disable my ad account, which prevented voters from seeing my website first when they typed my name into the search engine, and instead they saw whatever Google wanted them to see about me. Now, before Elon Musk bought Twitter, that company was also interfering in our elections. You may remember that during the final weeks of the 2020 presidential campaign, Twitter suppressed reporting about Hunter Biden's laptop from one of our nation's oldest newspapers, the New York Post. Any account that shared the link to the story was blocked. Even the New York Post was locked out of its own account for 16 days. How did they pull this off? President Biden's campaign, led then by Tony Blinken and his efforts, used CIA employees and 51 former senior intelligence officials to come up with this bogus letter stating that Hunter's laptop had all the quote-unquote hallmarks of Russian disinformation.
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
This is just classic textbook Soviet Russian tradecraft at work.
I think there are a lot of issues related to this New York Post story that reportedly referenced the Hunter Biden emails. And as I and several of my former colleagues have pointed out publicly, that it does bear the hallmarks of Russian disinformation.
This looks like Russian intelligence. This walks like Russian intelligence. This talks like Russian intelligence.
Why did they do this? They didn't want voters to see what was on Hunter's laptop before they went to vote in 2020. Now, the consequence? After the truth about the Hunter Biden laptop came out, even years after that election, some polls show that 19% of voters in 2020 say they would have changed their vote if they had known then what they know now. If censorship becomes the norm, then who gets censored is up to whoever happens to be in power at any given time. No one is safe. But right now, the Democrat elite in power are attacking our right to free speech, with Democrats like Representative Stacey Plaskett saying that, quote, free speech is not absolute.
This is not the kind of free speech that I know of. The free speech that is protected by the Constitution's First Amendment. But free speech is not an absolute.
An entire generation of young Americans are not being taught about the importance of the Constitution and our Bill of Rights in school. Instead, they're being told hate speech is violence, disinformation must be banned, but they're never...
You know what's crazy about that is what Tulsi brought up about Stacey Pulaski is the fact of it's true. It's so much about, hate speech is when someone's just speaking facts, not even being derogatory about it or anything, just speaking facts and disagree with it or pull the race card. Nowadays, it seems like that's the norm, just pulling the race card, because they could be speaking facts straight up about a situation. They pull the race card, it's because I'm black, I'm like, that gets old. That is run to the core. The Democrats still trying to run it with the core today about black this, black that. What about helping? Not just the black, but helping every American. You know what I'm saying? Twisting around about hate speech. Just stuff that ain't even hateful, just being realistic. I can't stand when somebody uses the race card. Just as much as there's some that didn't take advantage of the opportunities of being a certain skin color, there are plenty that have. It's not like everybody is a failure. But that's just my opinion.
We're confronted with the most important question. Who gets to decide what speech is hate speech? Who gets to decide what information is disinformation and must be banned? Well, the answer is very clear. Those in power are the ones who decide what we get to see and what we get to say and what must be banned.
Musk's purchase of Twitter comes after years in which we've all witnessed and lived through the power and the peril of rampant disinformation.
Elon Musk lives in a world in which the only kind of free speech is white men feeling free to say whatever the hell they want.
There's a bigger...
Just pause it again. That's bull. Free speech is for everybody. It ain't just white men. That goes back to that race card. And the dude looked Indian himself in that clip with Joy Reid. But that's just BS. Free speech in this country is for every race. Not just certain race. That's just my opinion.
Problem here about how we are going to control the channels of communication in this country.
Like many dictators, those who wish to infringe upon the rights of others always believe that they're doing so in service to some noble cause. And this is what makes them so dangerous. Here's the bottom line. Even in the cases of the most hateful speech, the most abhorrent speech, the answer is not censorship. It's more speech. It's better to defeat a weak argument with a superior one than to just silence them. There's a famous quote, "I may disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." It's not just a poetic platitude. Those words couldn't be more real to me and my brothers and sisters in uniform who take our oath to heart, are willing to lay down our lives to protect and defend the safety, security, and freedoms of all Americans. We must defend our right to free speech by exercising that right, by lifting up our voices, engaging in a robust and diverse marketplace of ideas, whether it be online or in person. We must not be silenced.
Wow. Good video by Tulsi Gabbard. Kamala trying to possibly silence X, Twitter. Kamala and them even having their ads run on Republican pages and Republican podcasters ads on. I'm like, it's wild. They're doing anything they can to get that money. Tulsi Gabbard, if anybody remember years ago, smoked Kamala in debate. And I'm hearing the rumor that Trump might be bringing her on in a campaign. I might be wrong. But also I'm hearing the rumor that RFK Jr. might be endorsing him. And if that happens, man, that's going to be a blow to the Democrats. But I like the video what Tulsi did. I could see Kamala trying to silence it because she can't. I mean, let's be real. We still scratch our heads to why they even chose they didn't even have a debate, at least with other Democrats, to give them a chance. But hey, what the old saying is, what's done in the dark will come to the light. Let me know in the comment section if y'all like this reaction video or like what Tulsi said. Let me know what y'all think. Subscribe to the channel for more of my reaction videos. I greatly appreciate it. Y'all stay safe out there and stay blessed.